Welcome to the 27th biggest county in Ireland. Celebrities are from here and we are currently surrounded by 150 islands.
Why are we in Fermanagh?
Oh lad, we're shooting a new podcast.
Oh, like they said it'd be glamorous. This is not worth it.
It better be worth it. Welcome to episode 13 of Poor Decisions. My name's Ronan Collins, our whiskey for breakfast.
And my name is Michael Cowman, or The Cowman Show.
And here, what a lovely fire you made.
Yeah, I was up all morning getting ready for you.
Slaving over the logs.
And we're in Fermanagh?
We are in County Fermanagh, Fermanagh.
Right.
In Asgaelige means the men of Manach.
Right, they didn't think too hard on that one, did they?
I don't know. I don't even know who Manach is or where it is. We are here. Fermanagh's a pretty cool county.
Is it, yeah?
Yeah, well, you know.
Go on.
There's loads of bird watching here. The Irish elk.
Like feathers.
Feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both are rare.
Yeah.
But the Irish elk, you know that big deer?
Yes, yeah.
Apparently the last
antlers.
ever one, was ever seen.
And what did they do? They shot him.
No, that's Cork. It's not in Cork.
They only had one and they shot it, yeah.
But yeah, I think the last remains of an Irish elk was found in Fermanagh, and they found out that it would have been weighing a ton.
Right, yeah, they're kind of like moose.
They are like
if you've ever seen a moose, and to our Canadian fan out there, they are massive. Yeah. They are very large. So
like a moose with a Fermanagh accent.
All right,
essentially.
Yeah. A moose with attitude.
Yeah. Then we've got very famous caves here. We've got the Marble Arch Caves.
Right.
Which are probably the most famous caves in Ireland.
In Fermanagh.
In Ireland. Marble Arch Caves are famous.
Down around the Burren. Loads of caves down around the Burren.
Is there? Name me the name of one of them.
The Burren Caves.
I think Marble Arch Caves are where that episode of Father Ted was filmed.
I
don't believe it.
I have no idea. I can neither confirm nor
Well, for this podcast, it is in Marble Arch Caves. You're welcome.
There's a few famous like literary figures.
A few famous.
I didn't realize. So when you told me this earlier, and I was like, what? Really?
Yeah. Samuel Beckett.
Yeah.
Born in Fermanagh.
Waiting for Godot and all that. Died in Paris, I think.
Did he?
I think he did. Maybe one of them died in Paris.
What a dream, though.
Yeah.
Oscar Wilde.
Oh, that's quite famous.
Yeah. I think Samuel Beckett and Oscar Wilde are very, very famous, but there is one that trumps them all.
Go on.
Ted Hastings.
From Line of Duty.
From the Line of Duty. It was I didn't just come down the Liffey in a bubble, son.
I think it was the Lagan. I think.
Oh, damn it.
Why would he be talking about that?
Do that again. I didn't just come down the lag. No, it's the Liffey.
How is it? Why would it be the Liffey? He lives in Belfast.
I didn't just come down the lagging in a bubble, son. Dan will edit those out, whichever one was the right one.
Oh my God. So what's his name? Adrian Dunbar?
Adrian Dunbar, yeah, he's from here. In Enniskillen, there's actually a big mural with him on the side of a wall.
Of course there is.
I think it says...
Because it's, people love murals in this part of the world.
Well, we do, yeah. But yeah, this part of the world, Fermanagh is in Ulster, but it is a border county. The border does split through fields, rivers, lakes, houses. No, it does, genuinely.
What, it's like, it's one of those like north, south.
Yeah. It genuinely is, not to get political, but it is one of those counties where when people are talking about a hard border, you're like, how are you going to do that so? How's that going to happen?
Yeah, how's that going to work? Oh, you're going to put a guard post in my house, are you?
Yeah. Through the kitchen, is it? Don't like that.
Let's see you try.
But yeah, so we are in Fermanagh today in the beautiful Linnet Inn.
It is beautiful. This is one of the, definitely a bit of character here behind us. There is a cave, which I'm sure Dan will take some lovely, lovely shots of. Producer Dan will take some lovely shots of before we leave. And producer Augustina. She's shaking her hands wildly in the background here. But it is a very, very cool pub. Yeah,
it is. And there's a pool table, which I think...
A dying breed, really, a pub with a pool table these days.
Yeah, we haven't seen one before, and it just kind of reminded us that...
On the podcast. On the podcast.
Yeah, just in general. But like we haven't done an activity like that before, like pool, darts, shuffleboard.
Feels a bit more like a proper local pub, I guess.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Rather than, I guess some of the other places would be tourist centric and would be quite heavily geared towards
well known as well.
Yeah.
And as you drive here, the 2.5 hour pilgrimage from anywhere in the world.
It is 2.5 hours from everywhere.
At least.
Maybe more.
But you'll notice the thatched roof on the way in, which was class. But here, there's someone better to talk about the pub than us.
Yeah. Somebody who actually owns it. So let's get Dessie in.
Yes. Come on in, Dessie.
Woohoo.
Yeah, welcome, Dessie.
You're very welcome to Boho.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, I have no idea where I am. So that thanks very much.
You're in the centre of the universe here, basically. Boho, 7 miles from the county town of Enniskillen.
Yeah.
You're also just around 5.5 miles away from Belcoo, Black Lion, on the border.
Okay.
With the Irish Republic. So,
it's a happening spot.
It is. It's beautiful. I'm biased now. I'm living here for 46 years.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I think it's just the best place ever. Country life, hard to beat.
Well, we're both country boys as well. So.
We are, but we're like from the water.
Yes.
More. The ocean. You're from the water as well.
Yes. Yeah. We're part water here.
Yeah. Wow.
1/3 water.
What was that one?
Well, they do say that about Fermanagh. Yeah. So 50% of the year Lough Erne is in Fermanagh, and then the other 50% Fermanagh's in Lough Erne.
Because it's just raining.
It's just raining and locks all the time.
So tell us a little bit about where we are. So it's the Linnet Inn.
Yes, you're in the Linnet Inn. I'm the second generation of publican to run this establishment.
He still has it. Fair play.
Still there. Despite the lockdown, despite the all the different recessions, the wars, the troubles, the price of the paint going sky high, we've rode through the rough times. Dad and Mum bought the place in 1968, and at the time it was a little thatched pub with a little bar and a couple of back rooms, and it was owned by a family called the Parkers, and the Parker family were the second family to run the bar. They purchased it sometime in the 1930s from a family called Britton. And 3 generations, well, not quite 3 generations, but the father, the mother, and the son ran the bar until Dad bought it at a public auction, a bit like the Field. Only there was no Bull McCabe type figures about.
It's my land.
And he purchased it for, I think, about the princely sum of about £7,000 in 1968.
I'll give him 8 for it now.
So it's been here. It's been the centre of Boho, really, for the where the crack's happening for the last 55 years, more or less.
Yeah, and it is. There's not a huge amount else around, so I would imagine it is very much the centre of.
Well, this is it. It is the centre of crack here. Yeah. People come here for drink. They also come here to check the latest cattle prices. If somebody's broke down on the road, maybe if they need a jug of milk or a loaf of bread or a jam, there's a shop next door. And I am also the local undertaker. So,
are you genuinely?
By the way, I am.
Okay.
By the way, if I have to cut this podcast very short, if I get a phone call, I'm out of here. So sorry.
That's fair enough, although, they're not really going anywhere, so I don't know how you have to leave.
I love the way Dessie thinks she's big enough to cut the podcast. So everything happens here. Like, even on the way in, we've seen a few people like buying fireworks, cash and dole checks. Like, it all happens.
It's all happening here. Shh, don't say anything about the fireworks.
Do you have an electric car charger?
No.
So Ronan actually drove here today. It's the first time his car has ever left Belfast, I think. He's an electric car.
So he's walking home then?
Yeah, I'd say he is, yeah.
It's a fantastic bar. Like, it is class.
Yeah.
It's when Dad designed the bar, the original bar itself was quite small.
Yeah. So it is like a little thatch bit out the front. It's like,
Yeah.
You've got a 10, 12 people kind of thing?
Well, probably you could fill it up. You could fill it up with about 30 people.
Okay.
There was a couple of smaller rooms off to the side back in the time when it was a little bit probably politically incorrect to say it now, but women might have been in the back room.
Yeah.
And there was a hatch there. And if they wanted service, they would have knocked the hatch and the men would have sat in the bar.
That only finished in Fermanagh about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But
Dad has the place 1968. Coincides with the start of the Troubles, which was seismic here, going for, it lasted over 25 to 30 years. But in the middle of that, there's an explosion of dance bands. So you've got, it was the big thing to have a band in a pub on a Friday and Saturday night, because you could not legally open on a Sunday. legally. So you had to maximise your Friday, Saturday night intake. So there was no chance of getting, 50 or 100 people into Father Ted's caravan down there. It's just too small. So Dad decided to build the lounge on here and add it on. Also, by the way, there was no inside toilets in 1977 here until he added the lounge on. So proper old school pub. So he added on the dance floor here, the lounge, the inside toilets, a much bigger bar, and the dance thing took off. The dance band, Friday, Saturday night, the Linnet Inn or Mackenzie's of Boho was the place to be. That went on, and then as it came into the 80s, obviously other bars were thinking exactly the same as my father was thinking. They could build even bigger ballrooms and bigger dance floors and could attract better bands. And the dance band thing tied up. There was a lot of music on the road. There was some great musicians. There was some less great. And you ended up sometimes with not the best band. And it was advertised in the paper. The local papers, the Fermanagh Herald, the Impartial Reporter, there was like 5 pages of what was on, and every bar had bands.
And was this compared to the jiving scene, that kind of thing?
That's it. Just social dancing.
Yeah.
It came to an end. It just it tailed off. It ended. I don't know. It was a combination of the troubles, the breathalyzer, changes just in society, people maybe wanting better houses. There was a seismic shift in the mid-80s, and hence then my father came up with another idea, was to build a cave at the back of his bar, which started off as a bit of a joke with a couple of cavers.
As an homage to the Marble Arch caves down the road, that kind of thing. Yeah?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, itself.
When I told Michael and the whole crew, I was like, "There's a cave in the bar." They were like, "Is there Ronan yet?" And I was like, "No, honestly, there's a cave in the bar."
It's very unique. It's very unique.
Well, you're telling me that's not natural out there?
It's not. I did tell you that, but I should have played it on a bit more. No, we've convinced a few people that it was natural for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, fair enough.
He was just very gifted with his hands. He was extraordinarily strong, and he lived in an era where everything was done manually. So to him, a hard day's work was brilliant. He loved it. I know some people used to dread a Monday morning and having go, but he thought this was brilliant. He loved it. He was born to work, I think, And even the way he designed this fireplace is exactly almost a replica of the fireplace in the house that he was brought up in. Now, very quick story, but he was a war evacuee.
Yeah, please do tell it, because you told me beforehand. Now, this is a great story.
Yes. Yeah. So 1941, my father and his brother, the only one that we're aware of, they're both deceased now, were taken into a home in Belfast. Their mother had fallen ill. We suspect their father may have been drafted up to the war, but we're not sure. They were in a home in Belfast, and in 1941, somewhere around Easter time, there was a bombing campaign that hit Belfast. So a bit like the modern day world now, there was a call out across the whole of Ireland to take refugee children from these homes. And that's how my father came to live in Fermanagh. He was adopted, not legally, but he was taken in by a woman who lived about 7 miles away, just outside of the village of Derragonley. So you're in the parish of Botha here. So Botha parish encompasses 3 areas: Boho, Derragonley and Mulcahy. Mulcahy is about 4 miles away, Derragonley is about 7. They have a proper main street and village. Boho and Mulcahy is scattered, rugged countryside.
Boho has here.
But we have this. And he came to live there. That's how really he ended up being in the locality, and that's how, when many years later, when he had done very well in the building game, that he decided, like a lot of people did in the 1960s, when you were very good at building or another profession, traditionally you bought a pub. And when this pub came up for auction, he bought it and relocated. He lived outside of the village of Derragonley on a road that's known as the Long Shot, because it's about a mile straight, or maybe it's about a half a mile straight. And he moved the family at the time to Boho, and that was it.
You were it is a great story, but you were saying he was here since he was 7, and he was still kind of considered a blow-in.
Well, yes. Really and traditionally, if you're not born in the area, you're considered a blow-in. Even though I myself have lived here all my life, I was actually born in Belfast. That was to do with the lack of acute services in the old Aaron Hospital in Enniskillen at the time. But no, Boho has been my home for 46 years, and definitely I'd find it nearly impossible to leave it at this point, you know.
What kind of change? I mean, so when are you running the pub since?
Mum and Dad passed away in 2011.
Okay.
So I've been kind of in sole kind of control of the place since then. Prior to that, I would have worked in it practically since I left school. I had ambitions to go on in life and become a teacher. My father had fallen ill just after my A-levels, and I kind of thrust myself into the bar at that stage. And that's almost 30 years ago now. So
you're probably not going back now.
I don't think I do my teaching behind the counter. You know, this is a school of life of sorts. So you know, I give lessons, you know, from around 2:00 every day until everyone's fed up listening to me, Monday to Sunday.
What kind of changes then have you noticed in that kind of time? Obviously, the drink driving laws got a lot stricter and all that kind of jazz. Huge,
massive changes in society. When I would have started working here, your core customer was a bachelor farmer who had lots of disposable income. He probably, you know, he didn't have dependents. He would have spent most of his days here in between tending to his farm and, you know, going to the mart, etc. A lot of the dealings would have been taking place here. It changed. You know, as I said, once the dance band scene changed and people, I did notice there was a long time here. The core customer here was just men. You know, it was a very much a man's pub.
Yeah.
We have changed it a bit. You know, we've reintroduced bands and stuff. Not in a big way. Occasionally, we've changed the thing up a bit. Parties, people love coming here for a party. You know,
the cave out the back must be brilliant. For
exactly, it's brilliant. You know, you could just have the best night ever in there, and just the look on people's faces when you open the door and people realise, oh my God, there's a cave in here. You know, didn't think it was possible. But also to the remoteness of the area. Yeah. It's just people think, you know, God, there couldn't possibly be a pub out here. There is. It's been going well since 1968 and before that. And, you know, my job now, which is, it's quite a hard task, is to make sure that it stays here and retains the charm that the older customers, we still have a few of the old guys, they're still knocking about, that they feel as comfortable in here as the man that's coming in for the party or the occasional tourist.
And where are the tourists going?
Well, this is the thing. They do tend to get lost coming here. But that is the biggest problem per se with getting tourists in here. Yeah. We don't have a tourist board in Boho. I'm the local tourist ambassador. I'm the spokesperson.
Undertaker, publican,
yes, grocer, etc.
Social media influencer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's just so many things to see in Boho. Apart from coming to the pub with the cave at the back, you've got stunning scenery. You've got caves in Boho. You've got fishing. You've got walkways. There's monuments. You know, there's lots of different things here. And during the lockdown, when people had time to kind of think about things, people discovered Boho. They found the Polnagollum Cave, for instance, which is just up the road, which was featured in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
That was a huge thing, you know.
So that was named after Gollum.
Exactly, it's crazy. Like,
how did they know?
That was all part of the getting back to opening again.
Yeah.
Because we were closed for a while. We had time to think about things. We created a beer garden up the back. We just had a big backyard that was doing nothing, laying with rubbish tipped around it. So when we reopened after the lockdown in 2020 in the month of July, it feels so long ago now. We were one of the very unique bars that could open without having to serve food.
Yeah.
We didn't have a kitchen here,
so
we could serve outside, and other people were saying, right, we don't have to spend X amount of pounds on a meal with our dinner here, so we'll go to Boho.
And I mean, you're quite close to the border as well, so I imagine there was a lot, because the rules were a little bit looser in the north.
Yes.
So I imagine there was a bit of cross-border.
There was indeed, and when we locked down for the second time and we reopened again, we were open, I think, a month and a half longer than until the pubs in Ireland all opened. So we did see the business took off in a big way when it reopened.
Yeah.
And now it has settled back into the routine where we were prior to the lockdown, you know, and public perception. People think, you know, there's a recession on, or we're spending too much, the pint's too dear. We're probably the cheapest pub in Fermanagh for a pint. We've literally only went up on Monday.
How much is a pint?
$4.20.
$4.20. And it's not like a social club, a working man's club. You don't need a membership to get in.
No.
You need a full tank of diesel to get here.
or a full charge on an electric car, as the case may be.
Charges that.
we've had so many. We've been very lucky to be very close to the Boatyard Distillery.
Yeah.
The folks at the Boatyard are fantastic to us. They bring all kinds of different bar people and people in the hospitality industry to us. They take some pints here, they move on somewhere else. But that has opened up a new kind of a customer base for us. Social media plays a big part in that. We now have a touring DJ called DJ Bob. I don't know if you've never probably heard of DJ Bob. DJ Bob is a force of nature. He arrives here sometimes completely out of the blue. You're not expecting him to come on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday evening with a busload of people, and they just think this is great. Great pints of Guinness, great pints, great
authentic.
drinks,
I think people want authenticity.
Well, that's it. These pubs are dying off. Roadside bars they're closing down rapidly, and there's a lot of factors. The fact that we've always been where we are, the fact that we've got a local trade, the fact that you've got a captive audience most days of the week, people generally aren't going to go to the pub next door or going to those kind of things are vital for us. And getting out there on social media is another thing. And people discovering the place.
Innovate a little bit as well.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Because,
well, Dessie, you pretty much lived a life in here, and this pub has lived its own as well. But we have a question. Well, Michael has a question. This is your favourite question. It's the last one that we will ask you.
Yeah. So we do a thing called Room 101. So Room 101 is, you put something in the room and it disappears forever. Nobody does it again. It could be drinks reps, it could be vapes, it could be whatever it is. And so you put it in the room, disappears, we lock it away, throw away the key.
Yeah.
So Room 101, Dessie, for you, what would that be?
I would have one. I would say if you're ordering around a drink and there's 3 gins and there's 4 vodkas and there's a bottle of whatever in it.
Geez, you ordering well.
Make sure that you order your pint of Guinness first. Don't just order like a massive round of drink and then say at the end, I want 10 pints of Guinness.
Yeah, because
start off with
it takes a bit of time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's when you see it poured here and once you taste it here, you'll want to come back for more.
So essentially, people who order their Guinness at the end of the round, you're in the room, the door is locked,
and you're not coming back.
Never.
And listen, the pints are $4.20 here as well.
$4.20,
and that's gone up.
I know, that is mad. $4.20.
But no, Dessie, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks very much for allowing us to use up the space.
Good. Yeah, you're very welcome.
Deadly, man.
Tell all your friends.
Oh, we will. We will. Don't worry.
They all listen to this anyway.
Well,
so.
at least 2. At least a couple of them do. Anyway. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, Des.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the fun in Fermanagh, I tell you.
All the fun in Fermanagh. Well, I have something I wanted to talk to you about, which probably doesn't really apply to Fermanagh. A big thing, and I know the producer Dan and producer Augustina were recently in New York, and they were doing a good bit of work with some bars over in New York. And one of the things, their biggest takeouts, difference between the States and Ireland, tipping.
Like, actually, do you know what? It is actually big in Fermanagh, fly tipping.
Tipping cows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and even it's a few years since I've been to the States, and even the development of tipping and how much more you're expected to tip and like the levels you're expected to tip at.
Yeah, so it's probably America, or North America is the most famous place in the world for, you tip regardless
of. It doesn't even matter about service anymore.
Yeah, let's say your beer's $5, you at least tip $1.
Yeah.
$2 if it's been delivered well.
Yeah.
So that's a minimum.
And it's funny because North America is the epicenter of it now, but it actually comes from Europe.
Okay.
So it used to be back in the day. It comes from it's a bit classist, and it's like medieval serfs, and peasants and stuff. Their lord would give them a few pennies if they did a decent job. All right. So this developed and kind of maintained throughout the Middle Ages and whatever, and then into the 1800s and whatever. And wealthy Americans. So there was no tipping culture in the US, and wealthy Americans were coming across to Europe on their holidays. They were seeing people being tipped for a job and whatnot, and then they brought it back to the States. But initially in the States, it was seen as like undemocratic. It wasn't capitalist because you were showing off your wealth, I guess.
No way.
Because you were going, good chap. There you go. Thanks very much for.
Because that's crazy. Because in the likes of like Italy or even France, if you have your morning espresso or like croissant, you might leave the change from your bill when obviously tap is now the big thing. But you would have just like, if it was a couple of euro, you would have left the change of the euro on the side of the saucer, and that was okay. But giving a full like note wasn't really. They were just like, You can take it or leave it.
Yeah, and you still see that, and it kind of went out of favor very much in Europe. And a lot of countries, they really don't expect a tip, and it's almost offensive if you do. I mean, I was recently in Italy, and it's not a thing. Tipping is not a thing. In a lot of languages, when you translate the word for tip, it kind of comes across for beer is essentially, or for drink is essentially what the word tends to mean. So it was like, if I'm buying a drink, if I'm in a pub,
have one yourself.
Yeah. And that was kind of what it is. But so they bring it back across to the US, wealthy Americans, and kind of post-prohibition, it really takes off, because bars, which were primarily the place that this was kind of happening in many circumstances. So prohibition, the numbers of people drinking in bars goes down. And so what the owners of these bars decide to do is have the customers supplement the wages of their staff, and get them to start tipping, and basically getting them to pay the staff. And the thing about the US still, right? So still, the minimum wage in the US is like, the minimum tipped wage in the US is like $2.13. So if you work in a job that's tipped, your minimum wage, all you're getting an hour is $2.13, and the rest is expected to be made up with tips.
Well, I know someone who worked in a bar in New York illegally, and their wage was $0 an hour. So if that person didn't make any tips, they went home empty-handed.
It is absolutely insane. I think
granted, that person made a lot.
Yeah.
And that there's the flip side, because the tipping culture of like how low that wage is shocking. But when the staff walk away with a lot, they're happy until COVID.
Yes, and again, COVID, we saw tipping actually went up during COVID for like delivery drivers and that kind of thing, and it's settled out again. But in the US, the expectation that you have to tip, I guess, 20% plus. Because here, it's kind of come in a little bit as well into Ireland. I would always tip on like a meal, like 10% in Ireland is generally, because they're getting paid minimum wage.
Yeah.
And then it's on top of that minimum wage, and they get the tip. But even in coffee shops now, and they awkwardly turn the thing around to you, and it's like, I bought a bottle of water the other day, and your man turned it around to me and was like, you want me to give you 10% on top of the bottle of water for handling?
Yeah, like I definitely, like from being in the service and hospitality industry for the majority of my life, I definitely see the value in when people do tip. It does feel good, it's really nice, but there is also the caveat, like in the hotel I worked at in London, it was automatic service charge, 12.5% done, whether it was one person ordering one thing, but it was a 5-star hotel, there was a lot going into that service. But if they asked for it off, it was taken off. A lot of the time we actually did take it off for like a one-person party. And then in our heads, after a certain amount of money, we were like, it's staying on. Like, it's fine.
Okay.
But I also know that was our choice.
Well, like in a cocktail bar, for example, even in Ireland or the UK, I'll generally put a tip on at the end, because they're going through a bit of work, and we like drinks. We tend to go to bars and sit at the bar and hassle the bartender, and have a chat with them or whatever. So they're
But then Roy Keane would say, he's just doing his job.
And but it's how much above and beyond. So if I wasn't there sitting at the bar hassling them, they wouldn't have to do that. They wouldn't have to.
But that is also the job of the drinks provider. But there are
therapist, bartender,
exactly. All round school teacher, school of life. But sometimes people also like to leave 20. Like sometimes if you've had such a fantastic level of service, you'll do it anyway. Because it's so good.
Yeah.
But I suppose the American side, that even if it's bad, and I mean even if it's bad,
if you leave 10% in America, you're an awful person.
You're the worst.
It's like, but it shouldn't be on you to go, oh well, is the waiter going to eat tonight?
No, granted, it really shouldn't.
I don't know. We're seeing tipping culture come more and more into Ireland. I think it's fine in restaurants, but everybody in Ireland's paid a minimum wage, whereas that's not the case in the States.
Very true.
And all the lowest paid jobs in the US are all tipped jobs. And this is the reason people in the US have to work like 2 and 3 jobs to be able to support themselves. I don't know. Look, I haven't worked on that side of the bar in service. I know a lot of people who work in the States who make a lot of money, but they work for tips and that kind of thing, but it doesn't work for everybody.
And it is a complete complex minefield, because then, and we're not going to go into it, but then you can look at hotel trunk systems, where the hierarchy means you get more percentage over the overall base. Splitting tips, if you pull in $500 one night and I pull in 50, we're splitting them.
Yeah.
There's a whole minefield of it. And and I think there better people than us have looked at it. But it is a curiosity. I think where possible, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Where possible, just be nice.
Yeah, just be saying. I think, but I mean, general rules in the States are now 20%.
Yeah.
On food and drinks.
Yeah, and actually on the coffee shop, UK and Ireland coffee shop in the Turnit, use your own discretion. Don't feel uncomfortable to tip though. Never, like, you know, if you just ordered a coffee and they just give it to you and you're like, nah, lads.
I don't think anybody's ever holding out their hand.
No, but I meant like that was me turning the thing.
Oh,
There's
sorry.
not an invisible thing. You did it earlier. I was just doing exactly what you did.
Oh, well, clearly I'm a better mime than you are.
You are. Anyway, tipping.
Yeah, it's a bit of a minefield. It makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, and I don't know how to navigate it.
And we're probably not going to tip Dessie today. Yeah. I feel like we should, toast some bread on the open fire.
Bread, not marshmallows, no?
No, I'm not American.
Yeah, but you're
No,
bread,
no.
like.
Yeah, did you not used to
would you
make
not just
toast?
No, I had a toaster.
No, but it's part of the allure. Not everything's just about functionality, you loser.
So we're going to do a snack now. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
fine.
I'm
Thanks very
starving.
much.
Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I can see that. Augustina. Oh, she got it. Like, that was good.
Nice.
So this week, I've gone a bit rogue, all right? So the other McCoys performed very well, all right,
Yeah.
the flame grilled ones. So we've gone with the sizzling king prawn.
Okay.
Not just prawn, not just a normal prawn, it's a sizzling king prawn, all right?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
When you think about in terms of the development of crisps through the year, somebody was like, let's put prawn in a bag with potatoes. You minger.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting flavors out there. I mean, they do a, Thai sweet chili. Did anyone think that was going to be an amazing idea? It's an amazing crisp. You've people doing roast beef flavors.
Stop making me hungry. Let's do these crisps.
Okay.
So on your mixed pyramid of snacks,
Yeah.
we are potentially kicking out dairy milk, a fan favorite.
Fan favorite, a classic. Whereas these, I would say, a bit more of the new school of the snacks,
Here, 125 RRP. Here, this is a premium snack.
Is
as well.
is this pricey in the north?
I think that there's more expensive than oysters.
Probably is.
Go on, get it into you. Give it a good crunch there. I am slightly apprehensive about this, but after all, they're full on flavour. They are the king of crisps. I like a humble brag.
Yeah, go on, get it in.
What do you think?
See what you think. I'll let you go first. I mean, for me, less prawn, more sugar. I don't know. It's quite. They're quite sweet. I don't know how that complements. I don't think that complements a bar experience very well. You're having a pint. You want the savouriness to complement. That's quite sweet. Like.
Yeah, and there's a really lovely aftertaste of paracetamol right at the end. I think we'll call them what they are. They're shite.
Yeah, they're not good.
They're not making it onto the... Well, it's your pyramid.
It is, but you are definitely an advisor on the pyramid. But I think who sat down and went, oh, prawn flavored crisp. If there's somebody out there who thinks prawn flavored crisps are class, please come let us know, because they're absolutely not.
Well, I will jump in on the prawn flavored crisp. Prawn cocktails, Tato, could be up there. These not so much, but there's for another snack day.
That's for another snack day.
I have a surprise for you.
So hold on, I'm going to say in mixed pyramid of snacks, dairy milk is safe.
Dairy milk is safe. I think that's the right decision.
Yeah.
I have a surprise for you.
Okay, go on.
Think back to episode 1.
So long ago.
So long ago. The young,
We
bright
were younger,
faces we were.
so full of dreams and hope.
Remember you mentioned about the search for cheese moments. I have a development in the cheese moment search.
Dum 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 dum.
Yeah, exactly. This is the first time you haven't hit the table.
I know.
So
I have a tendency.
we've seen this before.
Yeah.
On that episode.
Cheese moment, scampi fries.
On that-
bacon fries, yeah.
We actually cleared this of bacon fries
We did.
in episode 1 to see the reveal of cheese moments, thus assuming that the wonderful people at Savoury Selection still make cheese moments.
Smiths?
Whoever, who cares?
Whoever.
They haven't DM'd us. That they essentially still have cheese moments somewhere in circulation.
Yeah, so this is not new news.
That's not new news. That
Okay.
is the same. I'm just establishing the facts.
Yeah,
Been
okay.
watching Law and Order, right? This is a new one.
Okay. And the cheese moments are gone.
You're correct. So,
Oh, and we can probably tell it's newer because it has the calorie counts and stuff up here, which is a new requirement.
Exactly. I noticed that. That's why I brought it. So essentially, we've been talking to more people. I've been around Ireland, sadly not with the crew, and I've been talking to more people and publicans about the cheese moments. And one of them, who will not be named,
Right.
said that they were never made.
Was it Dessie?
It was, yeah. He told us earlier. But he said they were never made, and it was just a prototype that never actually went to it.
They're a fugazi. They're a fugazi. Not
Fairy
real.
dust.
It never landed. Fairy dust. Yeah.
No, when Dessie told us this, I brought these in. We're talking now. I think Dessie's a fucking liar. All right? Folks of the internet, find us cheese moments. Don't be letting these...
Even an empty pack. Even an old pack, stale pack, whatever. Just to because now we're getting... Not that just that they're discontinued. We're getting information that they never existed.
Yeah.
I think we have a full-on conspiracy on our
This
hands.
is another Santa right up in here.
Yeah.
All right? You get to a certain age, lies. All right? Do not Santa cheese moments for us. Find us something. Find us anything.
And listen, if you're coming to the Linnet Inn, just be aware. Dessie lies. All right?
Yeah.
He's lied
He's a
about this.
conspiracy theorist. All right?
You want a drink?
Yeah. I need one.
Our final section, a very popular section with the viewers, with our international audience that we have and, the education that they get here on this show. We're going to go back to the Atlas of Alcohol.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
so we did grappa the last time.
We did, yeah.
And this time, we're going to some colder climes. We're going to do an Aquavit.
Nice. Very good.
You're familiar with Aquavit?
Yeah, it's a Nordic spirit. From my WSET teaching days, Nordic spirit, minimum bottling 37.5. Caraway and dill can be made with either or both.
And you can throw in some other stuff as well.
Oh, you can throw in a load of heap and stuff.
I think the rules are, once you have the caraway and dill, it's kind of like whatever you want yourself, really, is it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And like if people disagree with that, just leave a comment why you disagree.
But yeah, very much confined to the Nordics, and I think they each do it slightly differently. So Norway is kind of like, they like a bit of barrel age, and in Finland or whatever, I think they just drink it cum sa,
Nice.
But
So
it's never really drank on its own.
Until today.
Well, it's generally drank with food, so that's the idea.
Okay,
But
right.
and it's always drank neat, so you won't traditionally see any cocktails, as far as I know. Like, are you familiar with
I
any?
have used Aquavit in cocktails, but
Right.
I do what I want.
Yeah, but that's subbing. You're kind of nearly subbing it in for something else. I've seen it used in like Bloody Marys and like a martini or.
Yeah, but you're like new to cocktails. It's like, you're the Ford Focus. I'm the Maserati of cocktails. Are we going to drink this? Come on, show us.
Overly expensive and not worth it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we just need some glassware. Augustine, can you pass us some glassware? So we have a little surprise here. So this is our
No
drinking
way.
vessels that we made in the pottery place, but I'm scared now they're going to fall out.
We didn't make that.
We did, yeah. That's ours.
No, we didn't.
We're just that good. So this is from the Louise Mulcahy down in Ballyferrett.
Louis Mulcahy down in Dingle. We did the
Ballyferrett.
In Ballyferrett, sorry. Yeah, we did the pottery workshop. We actually haven't seen these at all.
No, I haven't here.
And
We have to try and remember whose is whose.
I remember now. I can understand why Mick doesn't do any unboxing on YouTube, because this is painful. These aren't ours.
They are, yeah. Oh, that's yours.
These are
yours,
shit.
bigger one.
I thought ours was going to be better.
These are class. Look at that. Look at yours. So ungraceful. Just like a big mug.
Let me see yours.
No.
Fuck it in the fire. Right, go on. Oh, yours is better. Ah!
Yeah, you're raging. Look at yours. Isn't even round. Look at that. Looks like some sort of square. Here's some Aquavit. There you go. Drink that. Shut up. So this is sweet.
Like it's a...
So this is Swedish Aquavit. This is 38% ABV. Mm-hmm. It's made on in an old Jaguar workshop on the island of Sutherham.
Sláinte. What is it?
Skull. And the idea with Skull is to hit it as hard as you can, because you wanted your drink to go into other people's drink in case they tried to poison you.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hit this too hard because this piece of art might break. Nice floral. Tons of herbs.
Yeah, I mean,
easy drinking.
Kind of tastes like the juice from a pickle jar if you stuck vodka in it.
Yeah, which I dig.
I'm not
like
against. Well, how would you drink? Would you drink it straight? Would you drink it neat like that?
Oh, you could put it in something like a highball, some like bubbles, bit of effervescence.
It's experiencing a bit of a moment, I think. Apparently, like Minnesota Minnesota?
Minnesota,
Yeah, because they're all Viking origin or whatever. They're all, but apparently this never existed at the time of the Vikings. That's the one. It's like the Viking having horns or whatever. This came around about 200 years after the Vikings, so kind of 1600s onwards or 1500s onwards, I believe.
I see. Well, we can leave the Viking history for another episode. I actually really like mine. I think mine's better with a big cube of ice. I think this would be a better cocktail vessel. Yours is a better yours is just very obvious.
It's just better made, more craft and art to it.
No, I don't think so.
But the main thing is, Aquavit. It's all right.
It is all right.
Yeah, not terrible.
No, it's not. And here, thanks so much for watching and listening to another episode of Poor Decisions. A huge thanks to Dessie at the Linnet Inn for bringing us in. And should we give Kieran a shout?
No. So thank you very much for everything.
Yeah, and Kieran from the Boatyard for organising everything for today.
He got us a little sign for the car, did he?
Oh, he did. Sorry, yes. We're actually going on another drive.
On another little adventure.
You see that? The Linnet Inn Cave Bar. So we're going to stick that on the producer Dan's car so he gets stopped going over the border. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Yeah. Cheers. Sláinte.
Sláinte. Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, subscribe.
All that.
For more great stuff. What a great drinking experience out of that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Probably get branded.